If you're looking for an epic vegan cheesecake that'll please even the toughest of vegan critics, then you have to try this easy vegan cheesecake recipe. It's so easy, you make everything in a food processor, and yeah, you're gonna love it. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Britt and I'm the vegan food blogger behind the Banana Diaries. And today we're making one of my favorite recipes. It's a classic vegan cheesecake. This is one recipe that you need to learn how to perfect because it's going to wow even the toughest of vegan critics. And you're just gonna blow the minds of everyone who thinks that vegan cheesecakes and vegan baking can't be done. This cheesecake is so creamy and so lush. It tastes just like a classic cheesecake, but entirely dairy-free, eggless, and there's also an option to make it gluten-free. So without further ado, let's begin. So first things first, we have the oven preheated to 400 degrees. We're gonna bake our crust first, and then we're gonna make our cheesecake filling. So we're gonna bake the crust at 400, and then after the crust bakes, we're gonna reduce it to 350 and then bake our cheesecake. So to make the crust, we just need 2 ingredients. I'm using Biscoff cookies, and no, this is not sponsored. This is just my love of Biscoff, and it's a naturally vegan product, and it's, I think, more common to find than vegan graham crackers, which surprisingly is very hard to find. If you're gluten-free, there are gluten-free vegan graham crackers that are available. Okay, so we need 250 grams of a vegan graham cracker. My substitute is Biscoff cookies. For gluten-free, I do have a gluten-free vegan graham cracker recipe that I recommend using. It's not my recipe, but it's actually another blogger's recipe that I use countless times for making cheesecakes gluten-free when needed. And that's super simple. It's just another added baking step. So that's why I'm using Biscoff, because I'm not gluten-free, I'm just vegan. So yep, we're gonna do that. So we're gonna add in the Biscoff cookies to our food processor. And first we're just gonna pulse these until it reaches a fine crumb. And then we're gonna add in our melted vegan butter. All right, so that's now a fine crumb, and we're gonna add in about 1/3 cup of melted vegan butter to the food processor here. And you're just gonna mix it until it reaches kind of like a wet crumb, and then we're gonna press it into our cheesecake pan. So we're gonna set our food processor aside, because now we're gonna just press our crust into our cheesecake pan, but we are gonna use the food processor for making the cheesecake filling, so don't put it away just yet. So for our cheesecake pan, I'm using a 9-inch pan, and I've lined the walls as well as the bottom of the pan. This is because when a cheesecake bakes, when it's cooling, the walls of the cheesecake are gonna pull away from the pan, and if some of the cheesecake is stuck to the pan, then it's going to break open our crust, and we don't want that. So the parchment paper will help prevent that, because that will also pull with the cheesecake crust. All right, so we're just gonna pour our cheesecake crumbs into here. Okay, so now we just move the crust around, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna use the back of a measuring cup to help press our crust into the pan to make it more even. And you can use any flat surface. I just have these flat measuring cups, so you just kind of wiggle it in, gently press up the walls of the cheesecake pan as well. And using the flat bottom just helps to make sure that the bottom is really even and nice, and you don't have like any fingerprint marks in the cheesecake crust. Our cheesecake crust is gonna bake for about 10 to 12 minutes in the oven, and during that time we're also gonna make our cheesecake filling, so I'll be right back. So now onto our cheesecake part. I just rinsed out my food processor. You can also use a stand mixer, but I figured you can literally just dump everything in here and blend it. And it's also the simplest cheesecake recipe. We just have 6 ingredients. We have cream cheese, dairy-free yogurt or dairy-free sour cream, cornstarch, which is our egg replacement, vegan heavy cream, sugar, and vanilla extract. So that's how easy and simple this recipe is. So we're just gonna add our cream cheese to the food processor, followed by our dairy-free yogurt. And I will say that using a coconut milk-based yogurt will yield a greasier cheesecake. Some people have had a lot of trouble with this, where the oil will separate from the yogurt and then it'll create kind of an oily mess. So I do recommend not using a coconut-based yogurt for this. I think a cashew milk or soy milk will work best. But anyways, and then next we're gonna do some vegan heavy cream. And I've also tested this with coconut cream. It does work for the coconut cream. I think With the cultures of the yogurt, it must do something weird that separates it, but the coconut cream does work. I'm just using a vegan heavy cream. I believe this one I'm using is Country Crop, but I've also used Silk, and it's all great. And then we're gonna add in a cup of granulated sugar. Our cornstarch, this is 8 tablespoons, which sounds like a lot, but we want our cheesecake to set afterwards. And then we're gonna add in a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And now we just blend. All right, now we just pour our cheesecake filling into our par-baked crust. It's so silky. It's just incredible what you can do, and it's entirely eggless, entirely dairy-free, and no one would know a thing. Now we just smooth it around. All right, and now our cheesecake is ready to go into the oven. Okay, so it is now the next day. I let this cheesecake cool for an hour in the oven after the oven has been turned off, and then I covered it and put it into the fridge to chill overnight. So now we are ready to drizzle on some vegan caramel, which I'll link the recipe right up here, and then we'll slice into it and enjoy. So let's go. It really is one of the best like I've ever made. It's so creamy and lush and perfect. That's the best cheesecake I've ever had, vegan or not. It's so moist and like creamy and fluffy. It's so good. Seriously, if you love cheesecake, you have to make this recipe. You won't regret it. Full recipe is found down below in the description box. Tap open the little arrow and it's right there. Also be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified when more recipe videos like this pop up. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram at @the_banana diaries. I share more recipe videos like this and stuff, and just, it's fun to follow. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy. Let me know how the recipe goes down below in the comment section. And if you try it, also be sure to give it a rating on the blog. And yeah, I hope that you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.